So welcome to the Knowledge Jar. What we've done is we're changing the format. We're going to go and use a 30-minute snack bite, right? So that way you can take your lunch break. If you're taking your lunch break right now, get 30 minutes of AI education, and then you can just hang out with us for the last like 10, 15 minutes afterwards, for any Q&A. Today we have Deanna Lee, and she's going to explain how I use AI in my small business. She is the founder of Waggle AI. So thank you, Ms. Deanna, for joining the Knowledge Jar. Very excited. I want to hear all about your journey and just how did you get started in AI?
Hey, Victor, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be a part of this. AI education, I think you and I have that in common. Also jujitsu. So I think those are things that kind of brought us together on LinkedIn and alignable. But yeah, I've been in this AI space for about a year now, and offering AI services to other businesses and in the form of automations. And while I was doing that, what I observed, my biggest observation was that with AI, many people are using it just for a purpose of marketing copy. A lot of lead generation, the angle of just using it for marketing. I want to make copy faster. I want to build out my social media faster. And that is kind of where I see most of the focus. Very recently, I'm seeing it kind of branch out to more different use cases. But this AI topic is really big for me because February last year, when I first opened up my ChatGPT account, in hindsight, I realized I was using it very fundamentally, very different from other people, rather than getting support in like singular tasks like write me a resume or help me update my resume or help me draft up this email faster, where I think that's how generally most are using it, where singular task and they're underwhelmed by the responses a lot of times because your environment isn't set up properly. So what I'm realizing, I've created a framework and a methodology around it where to truly be able to use AI to enhance your human capabilities and your potential, it's the things that I remember to do is just remember that it's a human, like imagine like you're talking to a human when you interact with it, like an SMS exchange. And it's a two-way conversation. So you get so much out of the responses from it. And go beyond that, you set up the structure in a way where you assign it a role. You very clearly articulate what your goals are that you want to accomplish, provide all the context it needs for it to be able to succeed in attaining this goal and the actions you want it to take. So for that, I mean, this framework works for a lot of things for me, whether it's me learning something new, problem solving, ideating, or just innovating, just thinking of new creative ways to a solution. So for a business, for example, we're using it lots in digital marketing. I'll give you a different example then. Let's see. As a startup last year, I did not know where to get started. Like truly, it's so much information out there. It's how do I get all this internet information and make it usable to me? And that's what ChatGPT does. When you start up the conversation with a new message thread, just start with, hey, ChatGPT, I want you to take on a persona or act as this kind of role. I want you to act as a startup consultant, very well versed in the AI space, mentored by Elon Musk and also Steve Jobs and whoever you are inspired by. Okay, and set that as like the role that you want to interact with. The person that you would pay a ton of money for, and money is not an issue, time is not an issue, and access is not an issue. And then your goal would be, I want to start a business in AI and do it in this kind of capacity. I want it to be mostly passive. I want to prioritize my time with my kids when I have them as a co-parent. Just tell them what you want. And in terms of context, you give it your background information, what you're excited about, what you want to get into. And then lastly, just the action part is just you're telling AI what you want to achieve from this. So I want to, number one, understand where I would be a best fit. I also want to create a business plan and the next action steps to get to that next step. And yeah, I mean, month after I discovered ChatGPT, I quit my 9 to 5 and it's been working towards finding my ikigai, that thing that I am so passionate about I can do for free, which is what I pretty much have been doing while I was building out my agency. And it comes to empowering others with the skill set of learning how to communicate with artificial intelligence and also structure your engagement with it. So you are able to actually leverage that to enhance not just only in your business or your professional life, but as a mom, as a parent, to be able to explore creative things that you've always wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
It's access to all of these technologies at this time in our lives right now, like Wi-Fi, AI. It's always been around, but like conversational AI agents like ChatGPT, communities, like literally if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything in the world, like any goal you want, like solve global world hunger. I mean, that's like something really grand, but you really can make steps and get the right people together to achieve that now. So I think that's what I find exciting about AI beyond business.
That is awesome. And when I think about a lot of the individuals that are approaching AI, it's either from an end user perspective or somebody that wants to start their own business and leverage AI tools to be profitable, right? And
Yes.
since you've done this, right? You've explored. You're now in the AI space as a small business owner.
Yes.
Like, what are you seeing? Do you think AI right now is profitable? Is it being profitable for you and for your clients?
I think it's incredibly profitable. It's incredibly profitable from an agency standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I'm slowly burning down my agency right now because I want to focus so much more on this sharing of knowledge, to empower others to do the exact to use and to be able to use AI the way that I do. But the potential for AI, I mean, let's compare traditional businesses and the way modern businesses do things. My experience is working with smaller businesses, the traditional ones. They are very overwhelmed by tech, overwhelmed by artificial intelligence and everything that's being thrown at them. They know the way to generate leads is to get referrals, do networks, do direct mail, whatever that is. And now there's this whole new world to bring money in or generate leads that are even more qualified, targeted, where now it's actually usable. But that difference in making money, now there's a huge gap to bridge. And I think that's where AI, it's allowing us to bridge those gaps way faster. And if you adopt this mindset where now I can apply to help people understand this process without having me be in there directly in there doing it one-on-one, you're not only able to extend yourself, your services, diversify like how you are making money, but you're bridging that gap to get them to the point of understanding as to why I need digital marketing, why I need certain AI automation services. And that's less work for you as a business owner of that nurturing and the education.
That's good. From a tool perspective, I don't know if you're like I am, right? You're spending a lot of money on different tools because
Yes.
every tool has different features. I mean, what would be your top tools that you use, and maybe categorize it as, okay, from a text perspective, I use this. From an image generation, I use this. Or maybe it's both. Right?
I'm a minimalist when it comes to tools. And also because I know how to interact with ChatGPT in a way where I don't need abundance of tools. So the core ones that I think every business owner should have is at minimum a CRM, a way to collect the data, like your email, for example, so that you can continue to have that engagement with them. Even if you don't at that first touch point, they come to your site because of an ad. They're not convinced and they're not clicking to meet with you. At least you have some kind of offering that you can provide that value. Get that email through a CRM. It doesn't matter.
CRM. All right.
I use ChatGPT for brainstorming a lot. Perplexity, I don't use as much, but it's ChatGPT and Claude.
That hurts my heart. Perplexity. That's my go-to for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, okay, I've used it a few times and everyone's like, it's the Google search on steroids. What ChatGPT should have done is what I'm being told it's used for. But for my use cases so far, it's more this brainstorming and the creative stuff. And I think that's where ChatGPT shines for me. I'm going to look into Perplexity more. I'm hearing more people talk about it. The other one is Claude. Right now, I'm kind of preparing some of my legal documents. And I say this, and I want to reframe how I'm using this. It's not so much for me to replace the need of a legal representative to help me do this all these documents. It's so that I could save money when I do reach out to somebody and have everything in order and know exactly what I need. So number one, I'm not duped, and I know what I'm getting and I know what I need. And it also eliminates their need with their billable hours to review my stuff because I have most of it structured and outlined for them. So that's one of the ways, like Claude, ChatGPT, Canva is another one, and Midjourney. I cannot live without those.
I'm glad you say that, because I know with Canva specifically, what I'll do is I will go into the apps and then, and then basically call up Dolly, right, in order for image generation and stuff like that, or you can use the Google version as well. And so I use a lot of Canva's apps in order to bring some of these third parties, right, into the application, and then I can build out whatever I'm building out. Do you
Right.
do the same thing?
I do that. And I also sync up the plugin, the GPT through ChatGPT, where I do a lot of the brainstorming within the chat, and then it syncs up to Canva.
All right. And with all these changes, right? I mean, we just had we have the Chat GPT for letter O, right? That
Mm-hmm.
just got rolled out. How do you keep up with all these changes? Because I had a interview with the CEO of Tripsy AI just yesterday. Okay. And he is rolling out an amazing product. What it does, it's called Tripsy AI. You can book your reservation. It'll give you suggestions, and it'll go through the entire package. It really is a large action model.
Yes.
And then but the question I had for him is, how do you keep up with all these changes? And so they've written the prompts so that the way they can make changes as they need, right? How do you
Right.
do that?
Um, okay. I understand what you're saying with that. As when I was a software engineer, I worked with a lot of frameworks. With JavaScript, it was Angular. So I'm also very mindful when I'm building out any kind of product. I'm always thinking of templates and trying to see if I can abstract things. So I only have to do it one time and keep repeating things. Um, Follow those people who are dedicating their whole lives to keeping up with things. I mean, there's newsletters out there. I love what you're doing with the Knowledge Jar. Follow Knowledge Jar, share it with others. There's Matt Fox. Matt Fox, he's a local in San Diego. He has a YouTube channel that I watched for mid-journey updates, a lot of these new OpenAI updates, just to keep up with these trends. Because you're right, it's insane. It changes so fast. I had to adapt my business model with all of those changes, where like the things I was doing with chatbots before the GPTs came out altogether. I mean, that just completely obliterated my business model right there. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. Where now I'm focusing more on how to teach people how to use ChatGPT to build their own robots and chatbots, so that they too can now have access to all of these experts whenever they need it for their business or their professional life.
Wow, that's amazing. It was funny because the other night, I think it was last week, when the model came out, and I brought my daughters. I said, "Okay, let's play around with this, right?" And we just started going back and forth with some math questions, and they're like, "That's not a real person." No, this is not a real person, right? And it can translate into the English, or Spanish or German or any
Yes,
other language. And
yes,
when I think of education,
yes.
the way something that I would like to build, for those on the call is, like, okay, I have, as an instructional designer, I have a course and it's interactive and it uses that model, right? So you can ask questions and then it can generate images accordingly, right? On the fly. That's what I envision. That's where I see this all going from an instructional designer teacher perspective, you
I
know?
have experience with one called
Mhm.
unschooler.me. Let me share you the link. I think it's the
Okay.
closest to what you are talking about, and I feel the same exact way. I have a 10 and 12-year-old in school, and it is truly my mission to change public school education. Like, my daughter is so intelligent and she shouldn't be bored. My son also is capable of so much more, and he's
Mhm.
creative and he is bored. It's this opportunity to truly make education and information and access to information that's digestible,
Mhm.
and equitable, accessible, where language barriers are no longer an issue, where the parent can very very easily communicate with a parent who doesn't speak English, and also
Mhm.
be able to bring them all together. I mean, it's not just about a school; it's the cooperation of a family and a kid's education. I truly believe. I think that's the opportunity that we have for AI in education now.
I completely agree. And so, I have an older daughter and I have three younger children, right? And so, a lot of questions I get asked, and I mean, these are from students, right? Because we're a large company as well. And the question is okay, what do I major in, right? I'm going to do an internship, I'm going to do a co-op, but is this really the right path? And to me, and this is just my perspective, it is the guidance I give folks is, I think computer science is a very good foundation. Do I think software engineering, programming, all that is the way it's going to look later, is it going to change, down the future? Absolutely it will, right? But that foundation is very good. I think engineering is also very good because it gives you frameworks, gives you process flow, things like that. What are your thoughts on, and just like for guidance to give the youth, right, on what path or what journey with this new generative AI right down in the future?
That thing you said about programming language, I 100% agree with you. I went to college. I went and got a doctorate of pharmacy. I was a practicing pharmacist for 12 years. And as an adult, I learned JavaScript and made a career change. And it's opened me up to so many different opportunities. And it's also helped me explore very creative solutions. So software engineering, yeah, it sounds really complicated, but truly you are able to bridge a gap through a technical solution that you can share with a lot of people now to help others. So it is. And then now if you learn the business side of things, you learn sales and to market things with AI, all of these tools, I mean, you can have multiple projects. You can have multiple streams of income. It's knowing a programming language and how to leverage AI into all of this. I think you have every tool you need to be successful in life. And with schools too, I'm not going to force my kids to go to college. If they're just going to putz around, it's a waste of their time and their money, and my time and my money too, and my energy. I want them to do something they're so passionate about. I don't even care if you want to be an electrician, do it really well. And from that, make it into your business. Create a system where you can teach others to have the same kind of skill sets and help them support you and you support their growth. And yeah, it's just more of this entrepreneurial direction I'm going to be focusing on, at least for my kids. But in general, the youth, it's learning to problem solve, I think, to ask the right questions and learning how to use AI as a part of their daily lives and not for cheating. And I think computer programming language is another one of those things. And I'm going to sneak in jujitsu because I think everyone should learn how to walk around with confidence.
I like that, just being comfortable in the uncomfortable. Background's engineering, but I have learned so much as I started this, small business journey, right? Doing things at night and morning, and these are the things you don't learn at school, right? Nope. And then but the schooling, the engineering piece is frameworks. All right, I've learned all these things. How do I automate it? How do I make life easier? Right. The NVIDIA CEO recently just said, his goal is to get rid of programmers. Right. And I say get rid of them, but really you're not going to have to program. We should have the technology to be able that anybody should be able to have conversational speech, right, to be able to build a product, right? That's like the end goal. Can that happen? Maybe, but I think it's possible.
Yeah, it comes down to communication. The person I know who is really good, is really, really good at communicating with artificial intelligence are those who already do it well in real life. It's if you are already a boss, if you are already a parent and you know exactly what you need to say, and you are a generalist, truly like the jack of all trades, you're able to adapt and figure things out. This technology is your superpower. Can I show something really quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
So I don't want to scare people, so I'm going to kind of close something really quick.
Oh, it can be the cucuy as a Spanish, boogeyman.
Boogeyman. Okay, let me try here. It's a mess, but one of the first things, so this is a GPT, and I'm not sure how many are using GPTs or have a ChatGPT subscription, but what it is it's like, yes, you can use ChatGPT for general stuff, but once you have something that you're doing repeatedly, So you don't have to go through the same process again. Like, for example, you have to write a proposal multiple times, but you have your price list down, you have templates of past ones. This is now a GPT for you where you can program it, and it doesn't take much. It's literally assigning that role, the goal you want to accomplish with this thing, the context you provide, and the actions you want it to take. So it's being able to recreate a single experience so you don't have to do it again. So yes, there are business applications, but one of the first things that after the resume rewrite for me, before I quit my job, the second thing I did was I used ChatGPT as a way to explore how I can make money doing something I'm so passionate about, and also at the same time gives back to the world and improves it. And it's just I don't mind doing it for free. I wanted to live doing something I'm passionate about. I've done so many other jobs that it's just my time. I just got my divorce, So that's what I use ChatGPT for. And from that, it's this action in itself, because it became almost like my life coach. I went through this insane mindset shift. And that's the potential that I saw in AI that has thwarted me like into entrepreneurship, and just being able to navigate and make these insane pivots with being a single mom of 2 kids, just trying to start back up again. It's been so, I don't even know, transformative, if I could keep you saying it's if there's another word, but yeah, it's truly changed the way I look at life, my outlook on life, and also even how to make money, because now I can figure out anything. I can be like, I want to make money doing this. Help me do this in a passive way. I want to help solve this problem. Help me do it this kind of way. So, yeah, it's this Ikigai thing where it acts like as a life coach to you now. And I've programmed it where I can share this with other people. I'll share it in the message if anybody wants to try it. But it goes to the same questions that I asked or I started talking about. And if I were to reverse engineer that, what would I be asking? And you start answering this, and it will help you brainstorm ideas. And in doing so, it's like, because you're reading things back, you're learning more about yourself. Your language is changing. You're starting to believe this about yourself. And before you know it, you're like, okay, I can do that. I can go start my own business. And oh God, it is so easy, right? But yeah, because it's not so easy, just being able to use a tool like this to give you guidance every step of the way, whether it's, let me show you my team. This is the one that I use. It's for my business and my use case, but it's going to be different for everybody. So, I mean, from the start of my journey, just using it to career change and pursue my passions, to looking to way to generate passive income, to a point of where I got to a point where I'm like, I need to start acquiring capital. And I kind of put a hold on that, but I have one that helps me establish my finances and look for grants and write proposals, from structuring your brand messaging all the way down to helping you with your digital marketing plans and your social media strategy and blogging. All of this, it's accessible to you, and I'm happy to share this with people, but this is what's good for me. The only thing that everyone else has to need to learn to be able to utilize tools like this and build their own is, again, communications and how to structure your interactions with AI.
I like this because the way you've structured it, you have literally structured in a way that it's very domain focused. Because if you think of like a digital marketing tree, right, that, it can be overwhelming in general, right? And there's leaves on the, there's branches and there's leaves on this tree, right? And if you don't step back and look at the tree, you can be quickly overwhelmed. What you just did right there is you just broke it down by domain. And right, and now I have a thought partner, right? To address different items within each domain, right? It's perfect.
And as a startup too, it's, if you don't know what the next GPT or next thing you need to ask, you just literally start off by talking to, be like, hey, I'm stuck on this. I don't know where to get it started. Who would be the best type of people I would reach out to pay for an hour and consult with them to get a better understanding and at least go in that direction? And that's who you would assign AI as your role.
Okay. And are you using your GPTs with like the voice on your phone, or do you use the new Model O in order to have that interaction?
I haven't used a lot of Model O. I played around with, I've been using it more just as a default. It is definitely faster. I haven't done any of like that interaction with the talking and visual stuff yet, but this is still, I think, running on 4.0.
Okay, that is fantastic. That's fantastic. What are some of the key, you have a small business owner, right? And they want to get started. They're overwhelmed because they're like, okay, what do I need to do? What would you be this, like, what steps would you provide as guidance? Like, okay, I would tackle this, and I would suggest leveraging this AI tool in order to help you, right? So that way to take off a lot of that load.
If you are a small business owner, I think understanding what foundational pieces you're missing, I think is like the first step. Let me see. I'll share a link here soon, but I have one where you just kind of copy and paste, and it's on you to come up with a list of your digital tools that you are currently using, and also the purpose and the way that you're using it. And you copy that all, paste it into ChatGPT, and it'll do a complete analysis of what the tools that you are using and what the gaps are. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah, and use that as a starting point. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Hold on.
Okay.
And then from there, just see what systems that you are lacking. I would also, I use the Pareto principle a lot. What are the things that I can do right now for the quickest wins? Just, just to get things started. And that seems to really help.
It's kind of like my camera that I just bought this week and learned about lighting, just a lot of like tinkering and figuring it out.
A lot. I don't like learning new tools. I think that's also another reason why I'm such a minimalist when it comes to software. It's like a commitment once you're in there, like you're stuck. Feels like a marriage. All right. Sorry. My experience, sorry. Okay, I'm going to share this one with everyone. You're more than welcome to use it. Make sure it opens. So yeah, you copy everything in here. And the only thing you need to provide is the only thing you need to provide is the tools. And it categorizes, like, do you have all the systems in place? And the way that I view things is it's beyond just digital marketing where there's lead generation, because that could be done in so many different ways. Do you have a way to capture the leads? Do you have a way to continue to nurture the leads? And do you have a way to digitally convert the leads? And that's a sales life cycle that you could literally automate every step. And there's so much focus on that. But with AI and automations, now you can do the same for onboarding processes and designs processes. It can be applied to so many different things when you have systems.
I like that, because the number one question that folks always ask is, how do I get more leads? That's the number one question.
It's a top question. Yeah.
Oh man, I know we have like 2 minutes left. And so as promised, 30 minutes, this is a lunch and learn. So I'm opening up to the crowd. Hey, any questions? You can go ahead and unmute and ask.
Sorry, I was late. My name is Alma Juarez, and I joined is, so I just started about not even a year, half a year, my own business with Educate Con Ganas. So just trying to provide private tutoring and then language coaching to teachers. And so I was interested in this, just trying to see what I could learn to help me manage what I do and also stay at the top of technology and to make Educate Con Ganas unique. So just a quick question that I had for you. I love that you said you like things simple. And I need to simplify my life. So I have a lot of things. What do you recommend for either an application or something? So I have my business. I'm also a teacher for a public school, and I'm basically the social. I create multicultural events, so a lot of events for my school. And then I also have a Facebook group with over 4,000 members of Hispanic community that I lead. And so I'm just trying, and I try to provide education and leverage them and keeping them, at the top with AI. So how what do you recommend to prioritize structure in like my to-do list? Like I'm looking at my to-do list of all the things that I got to do, and I'm like, I have to learn how to prioritize things better. And so, what tools are out there to help you simplify and structure your life?
This is something I'm not sure of any tools. I don't use one. I use ChatGPT again for this. I start the conversation off exactly what you said to me. I would start that conversation off like that. Just like, I need help prioritizing my life and structuring it and managing it. Here are my schedules. Here are my family member schedules I need to keep in mind.
So is that something you could put on the GPT team?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
And you know what? Because and I'm glad you went in depth with that one, because I had heard about it, but I hadn't explored it yet. I'm just ChatGPT that's my max of where I've gone with AI.
No, the team is more for if you're sharing this experience with somebody on your team member. A team member. A team for me is the ones that I built out for my personal use cases. So this is my personal team that supports my efforts. So it's your team is going to look completely different. It might actually be similar because you're a content creator too, especially with educational content. So yeah, send me here.
I know that I wanted to use Team ChatGPT with my business just because I don't know, maybe this is where I'm getting lost, but they told me because I'm using my the business name on it and multiple things and multiple documents, it'll know it automatically to where you just say, I want a social media post, and it will pull the name of it into it and help with that.
Okay.
Is that kind of what the team does?
The team, I think that's custom instructions. So this is accessible to everybody. I think even with the free account. So in your settings, you would go, I recommend this for everybody. This turns a generic tool that ChatGPT into one that's almost like a personal assistant that knows you already. So that when you start,
that's what I need.
Okay,
that's what I need.
Go to customize ChatGPT, and then there's 2 parts you need to fill out. I have one part where you tell ChatGPT who you are, what you stand for. I mean, I have everything down to like my leadership score, my human design score, my personality type. I have everything in here.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
It gets a holistic picture of me as an individual. And then in terms of how it should respond, I did kind of like this, I kind of tricked it, but depending on what you're looking out from it, it can look from, let me just show you. I think it's, yeah, you just have to answer these questions, more or less. And then it'll be consistently the same throughout all of your messages. So the next time you go and start a new message thread, you don't have to be like, hey, my name is Alma and I do this, and give it all the background information. It already has it. And then the only thing you need to do is, I need to create social media content strategy.
And they'll do it. Okay.
It should.
That's what I need.
Yes.
Awesome. Mariette, do you have a question?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So first of all, thank you so much for having these. These have been really helpful, and especially today's presentation. So I had 2 quick questions. Just a bit of background. I'm an in-house counsel for a company, but I also have a business on the side that I am putting together to help train lawyers who are really afraid and scared of using AI. They're not like, many of them are not, don't have that entrepreneurial, let me get in and try the tool mindset. So my goal is to help build learning lab workshops virtually where they can learn the basic settings of tools like ChatGPT, but learn it in more of a fairy tale, building stories and learning how to build prompts to build output that I can then bridge into showing them how they can use it professionally. So something low risk, but very fun and engaging and creative. So my 2 questions for you would be, on my self-study track, one of the things I want to do is learn how to build a chat bot, and a software developer recommended that I learn the basics of Python, not the whole thing, but the basics to make understanding on how to build a chat bot more easier for me, and I would learn more. So I just kind of wanted to know what your thoughts are on learning Python or something like Python to build the chat bots? And then the second is, what tools or suggestions would you provide, or do you think would be great to help create more visual representations? I use Gamma to help build out my decks, but I'm thinking more Sesame Street kind of diagrams to help lawyers really understand it more creatively. And I'm just looking for AI tools that can help me with that visualization.
Okay. I'm very, again, I don't have a lot of tools. I'm very selective about them. ChatGPT, when you have that Plus subscription, it opens you up to a suite of tools.
I do. Okay. Yeah, so I have the Plus subscription.
Try this one, the diagram Show Me. I can stream in here.
Okay.
The only thing you need to know is how to structure your request. So it follows a format, and there's a link where it says, you know how it's like if it's a part of the initial tree branch and how it branches off, it's just the syntax you need to learn, but you can do it all within here.
Okay, perfect. And then what are your thoughts on learning the basics of Python? I heard in the presentation that the discussion that you help people build chatbots, but kind of what are your thoughts on learning programming?
I think programming is really, really, I think it's amazing skill set to have. It's what is your desired outcome? What are you trying to accomplish with this chatbot? Are you looking to become a chatbot developer, or are you trying to leverage this as a way to reach more people?
I want to really leverage it as a way of not only self-study, but just developing my own treasure chest of the ecosystem. So if I can speak to developers, understand how to build as a layer of my own understanding, and then potentially use it to help my business. So if I want to build a chatbot to help with the subtask that I've identified.
There are so many different ways to build a chatbot, especially with these new tools that are available to us. I think you got a very Python developer answer to be able to get to what you will need to do really fast. You can definitely leverage tools in here. Let me share this one with you. You're welcome to have it. I built it out for myself. Chatbots can be done. It's verbal instructions now you're giving to it now with no code tools like ChatNode, custom GPT. I don't want to mess up the URL, but you don't need to have an extensive programming background to be able to get all this done, build out a chatbot. I can work with you in a few hours and you'll have a working chatbot that's ready to go. It's more how you give it the instructions on how to behave. And designing a chatbot, the conversation interactions, it's the same thing as we're building a GPT or structuring an AI project. You assign it that role. You give it the goal you're trying to accomplish with this chatbot, the features it's supposed to have, how it's supposed to behave, how to respond in certain scenarios that may be inappropriate or out of scope. These are all these parameters that you have to define for the chatbot. And that is the chatbot interface. And there are so many apps out there that you can just copy and paste that into and embed onto your website within a day. So easy.
Perfect. So I'll definitely reach out to you.
Want to learn how to do Python to open you up to all other types of opportunities, definitely learn it. I want to learn Python one day, but in terms of setting up a chatbot with no code tool, that's the beauty of AI and all these tools that's coming out this past year.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Mariette, I was going to tell you, Hamza Farouk, Hamza Farouk, he ex-Google engineer. He has a course on Coursera. He told me about it because folks were asking the same kind of question, at my business, and it's on Python, by Google, because he was from Google, and so that course I think it's like 6-7 weeks, but it tells you, it goes from cradle to grave, and you'll know pretty much everything you need to know in regards to Python.
Great, thank you.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, I think that's 30 minutes, and then of course 10 to 15 minutes afterwards of conversation, and so I think we're good. So Diana, thank you so much, and thanks everybody that was on the call. I will be putting this on YouTube and socializing on the community, and continue on the pursuit of educating in the AI space.
I support it.
All right. Thank you guys.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.